The Hyundai Ioniq 5 and Hyundai Exter are amongst the best of 2023. Joining me today to accept the award is Mr. Tarun Garg, Chief Operating Officer, Hyundai Motor India. Tarun, welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much.
So you've got two beautiful cars that you've brought us today. Which one is more important to you?
No, actually both have a very important role. Frankly speaking, when we launched the Ioniq 5, this was a big statement because it was so well awarded, and it was kind of far ahead of the times, you know. And frankly, when we launched it, we were kind of thinking, okay, whether we'll sell 300, whether we'll sell 500 in the year. And I'm so happy to see that now we have sold more than 950 vehicles already, and it has been a big change in the way people looked at electric cars. You know, the kind of clientele we have, all of them have. Most of them have been driving a luxury car, and when they see Ioniq 5, they see that, oh my God, it has features which are even more than say a luxury car. So it has really given us that kind of a fillip to our electric vehicle plans. And of course, we are very encouraged, and you would have seen that we already announced that we are going to do a localization of battery packs, and which will really help us to bring more and more electric cars. So I think this is a big moment for Hyundai India.
So how do you do the balancing act in terms of brand positioning? Because like you said, this is at the higher end of the spectrum, that is more volumes, and yet you have to manage sort of brand expectations at both ends of the market. So how do you balance that?
I think that's a tricky one, but you know that, you know, if you see every company, you know, it's always about sustainability of the brand. At the same time, you need to really live. And for that, you need volumes, you need market share, you need profits. So I think as long as you do the right things, we have always believed that we'll arrive at the right place. So you don't run after the results. Frankly speaking, the Exter, you know, we thought that we'll have some really new benchmarks. So 6 airbags as standard was something we discussed at length. Okay, this is a car which is say less than 10 lakh range. Will the customer be open to this? You know, because it leads to increased cost. But I'm telling you, this became one of the key features which really gave a very big fillip to the Exter sales. So much so that now more than 60% of my sales are coming from SUVs. So you know, sometimes you have to take a call. And but the important thing is, what our belief has always been: do you will you bring a new benchmark in the segment? That is what we have tried to do right from the time we had the Centro in 1998 until our latest car Exter. We have always tried to raise the benchmark.
So you mentioned 6 airbags as being a differentiating factor and something that has drawn in people. We always talk about safety, but is safety now a point of priority in the minds of customers to the extent where they base their buying decisions?
Absolutely. I mean, you won't believe it, you know, as you know, from 1st October, all our cars across models and variants are now equipped with 6 airbags. And the customers are so happy about it. And the dealers are saying that the traffic has increased. We are having a good, you know, we had a very good Navratras. We are really building on to a very good Dhanteras as well. The whole idea is because customer is really much more careful about all the members in the family. Earlier, I think, while we always loved our families, but I think what a big change which has happened, especially in the COVID, is that we are wanted to really take even more care about all the members, not only the person who is driving. That has really helped. Plus the 5-star rating on the Verna, I mean, it has been received really very well by the customers. I think safety as a key buying factor is only gaining importance, and going forward, I believe it will be a key differentiating factor in customers' purchase decision.
That's good to hear.
Yes.
Other than from a safety standpoint, what are the other standout things that you're hearing as feedback from customers of the Exter?
Look, people are really wanting, you know, 77% of the customers wanted a sunroof. Now this shows very clearly that how everybody is aspirational. Because sunroof, I think, is much more about aspiration than functionality. So this is something people have really loved. The dash cam, because as you know, the customer is getting younger and they want to really capture all the moments in addition to the security features. So the dash cam is really gaining a lot of popularity. And of course, the Exter is so much more than a car, because it is an SUV, and this khaki green color, 35% of my Exter sales are in khaki green color. Believe you me, Otherwise, it's all about white.
Yeah.
But here, you know, a big statement has been made, and people are sending us videos of what all they're doing with the car. Of course, we had a very good tagline, think outside, think exter. We had a new brand ambassador in Hardik Pandya. I think it really, really panned out beautifully for us. And here we are sitting today. I think we have already received close to 95,000 bookings for the exter, and it has really proved to be a big blockbuster for us.
So I think Hyundai as a brand was very early to recognize the aspirational sort of needs of the Indian customer. And I think that's been key to the success of the brand over the last decade or so, or even more. But how have you seen the Indian customers' aspirations change in the last, let's say, decade or so?
Amazingly, amazingly. In fact, if you remember 2015, when Creta was launched, SUVs used to contribute 13% to the industry sales.
Yeah.
And today you see they have already reached 49%. Like I mentioned, Hyundai is already at 60%.
Yeah.
So we have always believed in creating the market. You know, that shows a very growth mindset. Because otherwise, you know, suppose you have a market, then you'll say, okay, my market share is 15%, let me target 15%.
Yeah.
That will limit you.
Yeah.
But the moment you see, okay, there's an open space, there is something called a demand, there's something called something which the customer is not really stating, unstated demand.
Yeah.
I think those are where the real value pools are there. And this is what we have always tried to do. You talked about the customer aspirations changing. I mean, today I think style, design, features have become much more important. Convenience has become much more important.
Yeah.
People are going for BlueLink connectivity. 33% of my cars sold are with BlueLink. So people want connected cars. Sunroof I already mentioned.
Yeah.
I mean, even in the extra 77%, people want ventilated seats. So and of course 6 airbag as standard in terms of safety. I think going forward, if I see my career over the last 30 years, you know, it was all about fuel efficiency.
Yeah.
It was all about price. It was about functionality. I think now it is all about whether I see the car as an extension of myself, whether I see the car, it will give me protection, not only for myself, for my family, and it will help me believe that yes, I have arrived in life. I think those are the factors which are really driving car sales much more than before.
So talking about aspiration and enthusiasts, you have the N-line range of cars. What about a proper N model? When are we getting a proper N model?
Yeah, I know this question was coming, and frankly, we are very encouraged by the global acceptance of the N. And in fact, yesterday one of the journalist colleagues was he tweeted about the N-line in the electric car as well, and we are very proud that we have been able to make a niche, and really gives us to really get into the consideration set of people who really love their cars. They want to really have that kind of a thrill and the passion. So frankly speaking, we are always open to seeing that what is the right time. So the products are always there,
Yeah.
but we just wait for the right time, because you need to have confidence that you will have a sustainable volume.
Yeah.
I think that's very important. And then of course there's always that value angle which always comes in whenever a product is to be launched in India. So as of now, I would say that there's no concrete plan, but we are very encouraged by the kind of communication we receive from the customers about the N brand, that how enthused they are. And I think this big transformation now, that from a ICN brand to a EVN brand, I think this is a big change, because
Yeah.
EVs were always thought of, as of course frugal and good for the environment.
Yeah.
But as a performance car EV, I think this is again a very big step up from Hyundai, and I'm very proud to be a part of this organization.
So in terms of this EV roadmap, you've seen a lot of success, of course, with the Ioniq, and it's a phenomenal machine. But a lot of, or some global manufacturers have set out aggressive roadmaps and then maybe starting to backtrack a little bit from it. You're seeing demand, but is it the kind of volume demand that you expect? Like, how does that roadmap play out?
I think this is very tricky and very sensitive, and yes, last 1 month if you see all the articles, so they are very mixed. But you see the commitment and the direction. As far as Hyundai is concerned, we have already announced that we're going to invest 20,000 crores, and most of it will be towards the localization of battery packs, because if we want mass adoption of EVs, the costs have to come down.
Yeah.
And one critical component is of course the battery packs. So I think we are very committed to this cause, and we already announced a very aggressive plan going forward. Look, when such a big transformation is happening, I don't think it's always like this.
Yeah.
I think it will always be like this and this. The whole idea is to not lose focus. and the direction should be right, you keep on investing. The moment you start getting into the ROI game, I think then you lose focus. So these are some things which are, we have to do something, so that we can create a greener, cleaner environment for our next generations. And I think there's a much larger cause here. So while, yes, today I was reading about a global manufacturer. They revised their volumes downwards.
Yeah.
But I don't think we should really read too much into it, because the direction is right. And and if you see from the base, it's still a much higher number. So we have to look for positives. We have to look for things which can keep us going, rather than things which can pull us back. So and one of my favorite statements is, sustainability is never self-sustainable. You need to really invest in sustainability to make it sustainable. I think all of us as a team, and I'm very happy to see that all the OEMs in India, in fact, the race towards EVs has really accelerated much faster than what even we had anticipated. So I think all of us will take this route, and it will have bumps. But as long as we are together, as long as we are focused, as long as we are not really too much into the ROI game, I think we'll reach the right place.
I think that's a very good line. So sustainability is not self-sustainable. I'm going to remember that.
Thank you.
So finally, looking at 2024, there's a lot of global geopolitical volatility, potential uncertainty going into next year. How do you see that playing out?
Look, I think there are definitely concerns, but I would say one thing, that whenever we try to forecast, we tend to be always very conservative. You should remember, in COVID, we had all predicted a doom, and we saw good growth. Even at the beginning of 23, when we were all trying to, in fact, I was in a SIAM meeting, and we were trying to forecast the growth, and we said, okay, maybe 3.5% to 5%, at best 6%, and here we are already January to October, we are at much more than 8.5%, 9%. Maybe we'll end this year as an industry at about 7.5%. So India has shown a lot of resilience. The concerns, of course, are increasing in terms of geopolitical situation, because we never expected the war would go on for such a long time. So there are challenges, but we have to see also that the base is also going up. 22 was the highest ever car industry. 23 on top of it will see a growth of 7.5%. So I think even if the growth moderates to say low single digits, I don't think we should really be too much disturbed. And even if, let me give you one more data. Base of 22, if you see last 5 years CAGR, it is in the range of 3.5%. Even if you say last 10 years CAGR, even that is in the range of 3.5%. So I don't think that we can say that, okay, unless we grow by 8 or 9%, we have done very bad. I don't think so. I think India as a country is doing much better than how the especially in the car market, as compared to the global economies. We're a young population, car penetration is still low. I'm very happy about the GST collections. So there are a lot of positives. I already talked about how the aspiration is taking over functionality. So yes, 24 would have its challenges, but I think we should be able to have our head above the water.
That's a very positive note to end on. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for bringing us such impressive machines every time.
Thank you so much, and thank you for having me at the AutoX. Thank you.
Thank you.